Thanks, Alisha, for joining the third Deverell Smith webinar, I believe. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm good, thank you. Just busy. We had our 10 to 12 call out session, so
Yeah,
it's kind of nice now to just come and leave all that at my desk and have a fresh start at something
definitely,
else.
definitely good stuff. Well, I guess I'll just get into kind of the structure of this webinar. So I'll start by going over this document that I have, Introduction to Recruitment, just to kind of give a brief overview of what to expect coming in. Obviously, you're pretty fresh into your journey at Deverell Smith as well, so it'll be nice to kind of give your insight on how you found things in your first few months. So I'm just going to breeze through this document. It won't take too long, and then I'll then go over to you, give you a chance to tell me about your personal journey, about what you was doing before Deverell Smith, even recruitment before,
Right.
your university days and stuff like that. And hopefully you can give some good tips and advice on anyone that is looking to come into the industry. Hopefully Deverell Smith.
Yeah.
So we'll just get into it. So hopefully you can see this lovely document that I have on the screen. So like I said, I'll just go over what a typical day working in recruitment looks like. So what are the benefits of working in recruitment? Well, Program One, as you may know, we do work with 13 different recruitment companies, and all of them have all committed to providing the best D&I environment for their employees. So essentially, you are coming into a environment where you are essentially being prioritized, especially with the companies that I work with. Program One, we look to address the underrepresentation of Black talent specifically. So, through Program One, there's a mentoring scheme that we also have, which further helps support anyone that does successfully come through the project. Just a few kind of points here. So, reward opportunities for Team of the Month lunches to quarterly top performance clubs, to super trips as well. So I'm aware there's a very exciting trip that's around the corner here at Deverell Smith, which I believe everyone looks forward to every year. So with all the partner agencies, there's always incentives on promoting hard work and rewarding top performers. And this year I believe the top performers at Deverell Smith are going to a trip to Mykonos, I believe.
Yes.
So that's obviously something that everyone looks forward to every year. If you look at a more short-term basis, quarterly lunch clubs, for example. So, every quarter, a few of the top performers, they get rewarded to a high-end restaurant around Central, where they get to spend time with, colleagues. And if you look at even more shorter-term basis, there's monthly rewards, I believe, vouchers of some sort. So, like I said, there's always incentives and, rewards in place for, recruiters that are part of the companies. Also, the career development opportunities as well. So, like I mentioned earlier, with Program One, we have this mentoring scheme that furthers this development. But, within the companies, there's excellent learning and development plans for entry-level recruiters, and that's all to kind of promote market-leading billers, try and maximize the full potential of the individual. This high earning potential in recruitment, as you may know, average on target earnings of 30 to 50k based in the first year, 50 to 80 in year 2, and 100k plus in year 3. So that money potential is definitely there. It's a very lucrative industry. So, if you're a very money hungry individual, then recruitment is definitely something that I recommend. And well-being support plans, diversity, inclusion, I definitely touched on that earlier on. But that's just a kind of glimpse of what to expect coming into recruitment. So just to have a look at what a typical day looks like. So winning new business by cold calling, meeting and networking with key clients. So recruitment is a very sales-based job where you're going to be on the phones quite a lot. So that kind of confidence on, speaking to people that you've not necessarily spoken to before. And, that kind of enthusiasm to meeting new people, being a recruiter, your main aim is to make as much money as possible for your company. So kind of that determination to, go out there and try and win those businesses is definitely key to becoming a successful recruiter. Developing client relationships, obviously I touched on that briefly, sourcing candidates by headhunting, advertising, networking, utilizing companies' databases. So it's pretty different, I believe, from company to company, but the same kind of techniques are kind of seen throughout. Utilizing platforms like LinkedIn, for example, to find the best candidate suited for the vacancies that your clients have. Matchmaking, best candidates to whatever your clients have on offer, and all of that good stuff. So it's a lot of kind of people skills that is necessarily needed. Obviously, when I go into depth of Alisha's personal journey, she'll kind of go into detail about what she was doing before. There's always a stigma where recruiters, they feel they need to have this amount of sales experience, and hopefully Alisha can kind of give a better insight as to whether that is needed or not. But yeah, here's a bit of what is expected coming into the industry. So, you've researched recruitment, you're interested about getting into the industry. What are the clients looking for? So essentially, I touched on this briefly earlier, but, companies are looking for someone that's willing or has an understanding that they're going to be working in sales. It's a very sales-based job. So, excited by the opportunities that, sales provides. Someone that has an excellent attitude from working with teammates to representing the organization as a whole brand. Excellent communication skills. All comes down to being on the phone. So that confidence, picking up the phones every day. That enthusiasm when you are speaking to new people. That growth mindset. Obviously, there's endless career opportunities within recruitment. Different paths that you can carry out as well. So are you looking to kind of develop your career? And are you excited about that opportunity as well? And resilience as well. With all the kind of incentives, the rewards, there are definitely low moments in recruitment. It's a very cutthroat industry. If I was to kind of give the real, and when you come across the low moments, it's about that resilience on how to overcome those. Moving on from those L's very quickly and kind of moving on to the next opportunity as fast as possible. So that's definitely needed in order to become a successful recruiter. And yeah, at the bottom, there's a few sentences that, if you recognize yourself with any of them, I definitely recommend, recruitment to kind of to be a career for you. So, do you want a challenge? Are you able to? Do you want to be able to progress your career quickly? Are you very money motivated? Do you want to be rewarded for the hard work that you put in? Are you excited about the idea of uncapped commissions? Do you want to work in one of the UK's biggest industries? And do you want to work in a dynamic, exciting environment? So if you've read any of those sentences and you feel like you relate, then I'll definitely recommend recruitment for you. So yeah, like I said, very brief overview about the day in the life of a recruiter. So I'm now gonna go over to my guest here. Hi, Alisha, you all right?
Hi, yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. So thanks for obviously joining the webinar. And I guess we want to start in the beginning of your kind of journey into employment. Would you say? So take us back to, let's say, your education days. What was your kind of passions, and what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, it's a very funny question because when I give you the answer, you're going to be like, you are not doing anything you thought you were going to do. If I go back to my sixth form days, I took 3 A levels. I took chemistry, biology, and psychology. I was very much prepared to join med school. COVID hit, COVID grades came out. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I was so confused. To be honest, medicine was never really my dream. It was kind of like everyone else around me has done it. I might as well do it. I ended up studying psychology because it was the A level I got the highest grade in. And I was like, I really enjoy that. I might as well just do it at university and see what comes out of it. So I really did go into university with absolute zero idea of what I was going to do in the future. I loved my undergrad. I studied at City, University of London. I absolutely loved it. You know, my lecturers were great. I made some great friends. In particular, I made a couple international student friends. And that's when I got exposed to a completely different side of the world, if that makes sense. They all started telling me about how, you know, their dads were luxury hotel developers and that kind of thing. Everyone was basically in property, and I was like, oh God, why have I never been told anything about property? Why have I only been told that go to university and do something in healthcare that's, you know, a respectable, well-earning kind of industry? So I started reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I connected with anyone and everyone in the property industry. I bulk emailed them as well. I messaged them and I was like, look, I introduced myself. I said, I'm really interested in getting to hear your experience of property. So I reached out to a lot of MDs, a lot of directors. I spoke to people from sort of Savills, you know, all over in the property industry. And I, you know, tried to meet as many people as I can. And honestly, you'll be surprised how many people really want to help young people who want to get into the industry, which, you know, says a lot about property itself.
Yeah.
I got exposed to quite, you know, a range of different people. People were giving me, you know, the good sides of property, the bad sides of property, you know, the long hours, you know, the commission structure, because I was going in with absolute zero idea of what property and then career in property looks like. I then thought, okay, well, look, I'm not in the position to be a negotiator at the moment. I'm still in my second year of university. Why don't I become a sales administrator and learn all the admin side of, you know, selling a house essentially? So I then joined a really nice independent estate agency as a sales administrator. I was working in their busiest offices, so I was covering Belgravia and Primrose Hill, so two very different locations with very different price points and very different clients. So that gave me a really good insight into, you know, what people do there, what admin is like, what is property like. Gave me a really good foundation about it. And yeah, that's what I was doing before coming here. And actually through doing sales admin, I realized I don't actually want to be an estate agent. I was like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. And at that point it was a complete curveball, because I thought, oh my God, I'm so money motivated. I'm so driven. I know I love KPIs and I love targets and I love hitting those targets and seeing the rewards in my bank account. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And then I just came across recruitment, and actually somebody I was in contact with at the time in the property world, again, reached out to her through LinkedIn, was like, why don't you try recruitment? And I was like, no, who wants to do recruitment? What am I going to do with it? I don't want to be a recruiter. And actually, if you ask anyone on the floor, how did you get into Deverell Smith, a lot of them will say the same thing. You kind of just fall into recruitment through people, and it's a side of the world you don't really pay much attention to as you're kind of growing up. I haven't actually met anyone yet who's like, my dream is to become a recruiter. I think a lot of people just fall into it. So yeah, that's a little bit of my background and how I got introduced to recruitment.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And you came through a very unique pathway as well, because you had experience in the industry that you're kind of working in, you know, through recruitment. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, especially entry levels, they come in with kind of the, you know, the natural skills, but no idea about, you know, industries and, you know, the market and stuff like that. They kind of learn on the job. So, you know, looking back, do you feel like, you know, that path that you took, you know, estate agency, you know, do you feel like that definitely helped you into becoming the recruiter that you are today, working at Deverell Smith?
Definitely. So I sit on the business support desk. So I cover everything, sort of admin, secretarial, PA, EA, that kind of thing, a receptionist, etc. Being a sales administrator exposed me to exactly the kind of day-to-day of someone in admin in property, and a lot of the roles we work on are sales admin or that kind of similar nature. So I do think it's prepared me for that, for what I'm doing at Deverell Smith, because when I'm talking to a client, I know exactly what is the good part of the job, the bad part of the job. I know how to sell it to them. I know what the perks are of starting off in your career as a sales administrator. And also I can advise clients on it as well. So if clients want someone to be a sales administrator, but what they're looking for in a candidate isn't realistic, I can say, look, I've been in that position. I can advise you based on what I know the candidate would want, because
Yeah.
it's definitely helped with my work at Deverell Smith.
Yeah, no, I love that. And so, Deverell Smith was your first introduction to recruitment, then?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
and you
Yeah.
nailed your first interview.
Yeah, so actually the interview process was really nice.
Yeah,
I believe I think I met Georgia in the beginning. So I met one of the associate directors. I then also met James, who's our MD. And then a couple stages later, I did personality test. And also I met Anna and Amanda, who are now my line managers. So yeah, it was a really nice interview process, because I think a lot of it was they were trying to find out my motivations, and how I work best, and seeing if that works with the scheme that Deverell Smith offers. But it really, the interview process for me, I know it usually scares people, but I was really excited to come back for my second and third interview, because it was like, I just really enjoyed meeting the people I was meeting at the time. And it didn't really
yeah,
feel like an interview. It felt like I could ask them everything I wanted to know about the role, and they were happily able to answer. And they were doing the same with me. So it was actually a very comforting interview process.
yeah. No, definitely,
Yeah.
because a lot of people go through, multiple interviews, right? Constant setbacks, for whatever reason they don't get successful. And I guess, through kind of going through those multiple interviews, that kind of tests your resilience piece a bit. Do you really want recruitment?
Yeah.
So, in looking back at your personal journey, then where do you feel like you've, managed to get that, resilience piece, and that kind of natural skills that a recruiter needs to be successful?
I think it's difficult to answer, because I think everybody has their own set of strengths and weaknesses, should I say.
Yeah,
Um, but with me, I've always been very driven from the get-go. I think it comes from just academia, really. During school, I was always pushing myself to get good grades, and I sort of carried that with me. I also had a really good support system around me that were always telling me, like, if I hit a hurdle, they were always saying, right, you'd rather, like, everything's a learning curve, basically.
yeah,
So yeah, I think resilience and having that sort of can do, sort of hungry attitude, should I say, I've kind of always had. So
yeah,
I don't know how really to answer that, because I don't
yeah,
remember a time where I had to build on it. I've kind of always just, I think it's a lot of it is the people you surround yourself with, really. If you have a right
definitely,
support system that can push you, then it becomes a part of you, resilience and being hungry and being driven and having a can-do attitude.
definitely. And so how long have you been at Deverell Smith now?
Um,
You're
September is marks my 6-month work anniversary.
nice, nice. So
Yeah.
fairly early into your journey
Yeah.
in recruitment. How would you describe it then? Is it anything like you expected, or is it?
I think I came into recruitment again not knowing anything about recruitment. Of course, during every interview that I had with Deverell Smith, everyone I met was very honest with me in terms of what my day-to-day would look like. Because of course they were trying to make sure that this is the right thing for me, which I think is really, really great. A lot of employers just kind of want someone to just come in and crack on, but at Deverell Smith, they want to make sure that this is the right role for you as well. Um, is it what I thought it would be? No. I thought it would be a bit easier. I thought, I didn't know that there would be so much, setbacks with candidates or setbacks with clients, or, having a very busy diary, or having to put in a little bit of, an extra hour before and after work, for example. I think within your first month is a bit smooth sailing, because you're just kind of learning the basics.
Yeah,
Months 2 and 3 is when it gets intense, and it's like, this is your job. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's what I thought it was, but I've
yeah,
learned so much since starting. I've definitely grown as a person since starting as well. I've learned a lot on the job so far.
yeah. And I love that you gave the real, as much as praising the job, because you know it is a very you know, hard job to do, essentially. You know, you do definitely get moments where you kind of sit back and think, you know, is this really the job for me? So you know, you obviously explained that you've experienced that a bit towards the start of your journey. Talk to me how you've managed to overcome that, and you know, how has Deverell Smith helped you to kind of manage those setbacks, and you know, making you feel like, you know, this is something that you can do.
Yeah. So we've got a learning and development kind of team headed up by the one and only Kylie. She's absolutely amazing, and the training she provides has helped me so much from the beginning to the end, because Kylie covers in the training everything you will face in your career, you know, on the client side and on the candidate side. Every time there was a setback, I would always, you know, again, having that system around me, the support system. I sit right next to my line manager, and opposite me is the team manager as well. So, you know, if I'm ever confused, I'm always the person that's like, guys, I'm not understanding. Can you help me? Can I listen into you doing this instead? A great thing about the training also is we do a lot of role plays. So they will put you in the deep end in front of everyone, be like, come on, this is a role play. I'm going to pretend to be a, you know, an annoying candidate who wants one thing from a job, but the role you're offering, for example, offers something else. How are you going to deal with that? So the role plays are really great because they prepare you on how to deal with, you know, setbacks and any of the negative sides of recruitment. So I think a lot of it is because of the training, to be honest, that prepares you for everything and anything.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's lovely. That's lovely. And obviously, you know, I can see that you're really enjoying your time here as well. It's your first introduction to recruitment, so hopefully it's your last.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah.
So
No. Yeah.
yeah. So now if anyone was to come into recruitment, you know, whether that's Deverell Smith or any other company, what's the number one advice you'd give them? And you know, how would you kind of summarize recruitment to them?
My number one advice, I think, to start off with someone who's, for example, got no experience in recruitment, is pick the right company. You can do recruitment anywhere. You can do it from home. You can do it in an office. You can do recruitment anywhere, but you want to make sure that you're with a company that really value you as a person, and that's exactly what Deverell Smith do. Again, I'm coming back to the amazing training scheme we've got here. Deverell Smith are, I think, have an amazing training scheme, and they prepare you for the worst and the best of recruitment, should I say. I'd also advise, you know, if you're the type of person who likes having, you know, targets on you, because realistically it is a bit of a numbers game, to be honest. Obviously the more candidates you place, the more money you earn. And if you're someone who's driven and someone who likes seeing, you know, that the effort they're putting into something is giving them something back as well, I think recruitment is definitely a good shout for you if you know, if you're hungry and you're motivated. You can do it in any industry, but of course, you know, the property industry is an industry that's always going to be in demand, in terms of jobs and, you know, people wanting to hire or people wanting to work for. So I think property is also a great place for them to start. Another, I think my last piece of advice would be, do your research. Try to talk to people, as many people as you can. So use the approach I use, just reach out to people on LinkedIn. If anybody's got any questions about Deverell Smith, Ella would be the best person to reach out to, for example. Because then, you know, you can hear from people what their experience is, and, you know, see if there's any opportunity for you to grow within their team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love that.